Hello and welcome to Season 2 of the Spirit Lounge podcast. With me, David.
And me, Glenda. And we are two psychic mediums from both sides of the pond.
Glenda is in Australia.
And David is in the UK.
And we're here to talk about, discuss and give our opinions on all things spiritual, including psychics and mediumship.
And if you've listened to the podcast before, you know how much we love to laugh while keeping it real, honest and down to earth.
As well as having those discussions, there will also be guest interviews and maybe some other surprises.
So come with us now on our podcast journey and let's see what's happening in the Spirit Lounge for today's episode.
Hello listeners and welcome back to the Spirit Lounge with myself and Glenda. Good evening, Glenda.
Hi David, hello.
Morning for me, evening for you. Hello. Happy Monday. Well, it is today. Now, on the recording day, it's Monday, but people will be getting this on the Wednesday. So happy Monday.
Happy Monday, people. It's a full moon this Monday. Oh, we're in the full moon today.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna get no sleep then. How fabulous.
No, same.
I'm already tired. And it's only Monday. But it's nearly July. I go away on Wednesday, so I'm feeling all right because I go away for 2 weeks. So a couple of days.
You're so lucky.
Away. But then it'll be July. The time I come back, it'll be middle of July. What's happening with this year? It's going far too quick, isn't it?
It's unbelievable. Can you remember we were just recording the first one going, so David, what's this year going to bring for us? What are we predicting? Holy shit. I can't even remember what we said what we were going to predict.
No idea. Someone the other day said to me, you read for me in 2021. I went, oh, did I? So I can't remember what I did yesterday, let alone what I did all those years ago or what we said this year. So
but I guarantee other people are feeling exactly the same. It's just flying past. Like it feels like some weeks just drag on. But when you think about it, look how quickly this year's gone.
Yeah. Scary, isn't it? Scary.
Oh
and talk about scary. We're going to talk about a bit of a scary topic to some people, not to everybody, but to some. So people, this is not to be morbid in any way, shape or form, but we're going to talk about a topic which we've not really talked about in depth on the podcast so far. And we're going to talk about this subject of death. And we're not necessarily going to do it in a morbid way, because that's not me or Glenda. You know, we're not morbid people. We don't get into negative, but I think it's an important topic that we do touch on, because ultimately that's something that we deal with on a daily basis. And so we can't really ignore it when it's part of our lives, really. Not just from a life point of view, but from a job point of view as well, right? We all go through death, but as a medium, that's what we're doing. We're dealing with death and grief on a daily basis. So that is what we're going to talk about, aren't we, Glenda?
Yeah, something different. Maybe, well, every day we bring through people from spirit. We connect loved ones, but we also go through grief, and the people that come to see us are in the thick of the grief. So they've just faced death. And when we go and we have someone that we love transition, we start thinking about death. And it's not through those moments that you think about death. I mean, no one thinks about death. When some people don't think about it, some people don't talk about it, some people are scared of it. Our friend David likes to lay in bed and think about it. So today's podcast is all about death. So
just explain people, right? What happens to me? I was saying this to Glenda before we press record. I was telling Glenda this. Basically, I don't know if it's only this. Surely it's not only me. I'm sure that other people out there listening will.
No, it's just you. It's just you, David.
But when I'm in bed, I'm trying to get to sleep. Right, I don't have insomnia as a general thing, but sometimes you just have trouble falling asleep. So what I can tend to do, right, is to get myself to sleep, I try and create a story in my head. So one of those stories is, I imagine that I've been invited onto a panel show, like a talk show, as a medium, and I'm being interviewed about what I do. And I think it's because in my head, I'm like, if I ever do an interview like that, I want to be able to give some cohesive um, information and answers, I should say, that actually make sense. Because a lot of time you see mediums and psychics on certain TV shows or panel shows, morning shows, who don't even know the difference between a psychic and a medium. And that annoys
Yeah.
me because I think if you've been in the business 50 plus years, you should know the bleeding difference between a psychic and a medium. And I just think sometimes the interviews that I see are just wishy washy and just, I don't know. I don't know if they're trying to be all love and light, come across love and light rather than actually give the proper facts of what we do. I don't know. So it just kind of irritates me. So in my head, I'm like, oh, if I'm doing this show, I'm going to give this answer. And what was in my head the other night was talking about death. Don't ask me why. It just dropped in my head. And I had a little burst of inspiration about death put in my head, which I had to then put on my notes on my phone because I knew if I woke up the next morning, I'd completely forgotten what I said. Because sometimes the thoughts come in my head, which I think, oh, that's a good thought, but I know it's not coming from me because I wouldn't have thought it up in the first place. So that
Yeah.
if I don't write it down, I'm going to lose it. So that's kind of why this has come about, people, really, because it was in my head to talk about. But also, I think I don't know if you agree with this, Glenda, or not. Do you think that um, we don't, as a society, don't talk about death enough? Do you still think it's a taboo subject, or do you think, like you
Yeah,
said a minute ago, like it's just a fear of it, or it's just or a topic for some people it scares them?
it is. And, like, I don't think it's a negative thing to talk about it. We talk about, coming here, being born. Well, why can't we talk about death? It's every day that we have to face it. And until you, like I said, until you face it, you don't think about it. But whenever I bring it up with the kids, they're like, oh, mom, fucking hell. Like, why do you have to talk about that shit? And I'm just like, why? Like, I want you to be prepared. I want to educate you. And I think that we should be able to talk about this with our families. We should be able to educate our children about that so there isn't that fear when it happens, because it fucking happens. Accidents happen, tragedy happens, and you've not prepared your family for it. So I was prepared for it. Me and mum talked about it. We talked about it. Right, when I go, I'm going to come back as this and look out for this sign. Not. She was always saying, "Oh, I can't wait to go home." So why can't we prepare our children for that? Why can't we be able to talk about that with friends? I mean, we don't go and sit at the pub and have a margarita and go, "So, what do you think about dying?" No, you don't.
No, you don't.
You don't. So when can we talk about it? So here
Yeah,
we are on the podcast talking about it because it's maybe classed as a negative subject or something that we don't want to think about, but we should.
yeah.
So,
Because isn't it funny? It's one thing that's guaranteed in life is that we're going to die. And
yeah,
it's not to sound morbid. It's just this.
no,
It's
but
such a strange
it's true.
concept that it's something at some point is going to happen. I think
Yeah,
sometimes we go through. Look, I get it when you're young. You don't think about it because you're busy growing up and having fun and living your life, and that's how it should be. Absolutely. Um, But I think it's just sometimes I don't know if it's just because we do the work and because we're mediums that death's in our face a lot of the time. Um, but I think it's just one of those things that you have to kind of acknowledge because at some point, again, I imagine myself on a TV show saying to them that everyone on the panel and everyone in the audience at some point is no longer going to be here. And I don't know if people but I'm sure people realize it, just don't want to talk about it. But it's one of those concepts, isn't it? It's something we don't talk
yeah,
about, but it's going to happen at one time or another. Both of us, Glenda, I'm afraid to say, we're,
I know.
we're not going to be here. Hopefully, not for a long
That's
time
right.
yet. But that's just the reality, isn't it? And that's just so. Why do we not
But
talk about it?
so, and again, if we go back to the reality of things, why are we bullshitting to our children? Oh, we talk, when they're little, oh yes, the stalk and the baby just gets dropped at the door and we avoid the sex talk with the children. And as they get a bit older, we avoid the death talk. We just say, oh, they're up there floating in heaven. How does that happen? Do you know what I mean? Kids don't understand this. So we should be able to talk about this openly without it being too morbid, but to have some sort of understanding or how we choose to understand it, because we all like to have some sort of fairy tale and pretend things are just all magical and, all that sort of stuff. But reality is we have to face that transition one day. So if we're going to face that transition, my question to you, David, is, has your understanding of death stayed the same over time, or has it evolved into something completely different? And I'm saying that before mediumship to you doing mediumship now. So before you did this work.
What the way I will answer it is, and me and my mum have had this discussion as well, and I said to her, it's strange because since I've become a medium or
Mm,
been aware of it, I think about death more now than I ever did before.
exactly.
And my mum also agreed. Now, my mum's not a medium, but I think with all the loss that we've had in our lives in the family, maybe that's why she thinks about it more now because of seeing the death that's been around. For me, it's
Mm,
not necessarily been that. It's more come from the fact that I think when you do this work, it's almost like a wake up call to us. The reality is that yes, death is there. Death is going to happen. Death can happen to anyone at any age, in any place. Do you know what I mean? No one is
yeah.
put here with a guaranteed outcome of no, you're here for that many years, or you must outlive that person. That's not the reality. And I think when you sit down with so many people who have lost parents, grandparents, brothers, sisters, God, that some people have lost children that have come to see us, it really
Exactly.
it really is that hit that reality, isn't it? That reality hits you of, well, bloody hell, look at all this that
I know.
happens. And you can't then not think about it as a medium because you deal with it. Now, I will say as well, that's not in a morbid way because I don't carry it around with me, right? I
No,
don't go
it's
around
just,
every minute of the day going, oh my God, I'm going to die one day. It's not that, but it's just we understand as mediums that this is the reality of life. This is what happens. It's going to happen to us one day. But how we think about it is important. How we then live our lives before we get to that point of death is important. And I just think before I did any of this, I didn't really think about death, to be honest. As,
well,
as a as a kid,
we
I didn't because it wasn't
wasn't
being
our
spoken
job.
about. No.
It wasn't our job. We're not surrounded by it every day. We're not talking about it every day. And
Yeah.
as a kid, you picture the old people dying first. And it's got some
Mm,
sort of order. That's what you have in your head. Oh,
yeah.
they're
Yeah.
old. That's why. And it's the parents. Oh, they're old. That's why they died. But no, it's not. The older you
Yeah.
get, you realize no, people are dying at any age. And
Yeah.
that's when you start start questioning death. And
Yeah.
before we came on, you mentioned something about free will and death. That's
Yeah.
interesting too. So, what was your thoughts around that, David?
So again, this is something that was just dropped in my head, and I thought I'll talk about it. It's not, and this is not to be flippant about it either, right? I think as humans, as a society, we have the thought process of things must go in a natural order, and that natural order
Mm,
is we we die in the same order that we came in. So, for example, your great great grandparents came first, then your grandparent, then your parent, then you, and then a child if you have a child, and that's the order that we came in. And there are people as a society, we believe that then we should also pass in the same order. So then your great grandparents go first, then your great grandparents, then your grandparents, then your parent, then you, then your child comes later. But the reality is that isn't the case, and that's the hardest part I think for people to get to grips with because people don't want to think about that. And look, I what not upsets me, what triggers me is when I see even on TV, whether it's been watching medium do a reading or whatever else, where a parent has lost a child. You know, that's horrendous. And no,
yeah.
I'm not a parent, right? But I can empathise with the fact that No, no, you shouldn't ever bury a child. Of course not. That's and
Mm,
I've seen my nan and my granddad went through that when my uncle died. Um, that was their only boy, right? That's my granddad's best
mm,
friend. He was 36 when he died, and that changed them. They were
it
never the
does.
same. They went from
Never.
God-fearing people to not going back to church again because they thought, how could if I believe in God so strongly, how can He take my boy from us? What do you know?
Exactly.
So it's been in my I've seen it happen. Um, but the reality is, if we wanted us to pass in that natural order, then you'd have to take free will away from everybody. And what I
Mm,
mean is, if ideally, what I kind of love, is just to be in bed and just pass away peacefully. That would be the ideal, right? With family around you.
everyone's dream. Yep.
But that is not the reality because some people use their free will very wrongly by taking someone else's life. I mean, look what's going on around the world. People are killing each other.
Yeah.
By that merely happening, that person has altered the time scale or whatever you want to say of that family. They've altered their timeline by taking a member of the family out who to us shouldn't have gone yet because they were too young. And
Yeah.
so we're never going to pass in the natural order when you have people on the planet that do this. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Even when people take their own life, right? And this is not a judgment on them. I'm not judging them at all. But again, they've altered the timeline. Do you know what I mean? So if they're someone of a young age and their parents are still, grandparents might still be here, they've then altered that timeline. Do you know what I mean? So because of the free will that we have, that's unfortunately that's just the case, isn't it? And it is sad. It is sad, But I think of it also as when we the way I see it is Spirit put us all here for our own purpose and our own reason. Spirit didn't put us here to outlive anybody. That's not why we're here, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we're here to live our best lives for as long as that we're here. But again, it's one of those things that's one thing about being human, isn't it? That we have human illnesses and diseases, and unfortunately, there are some things that we have as humans which can't be cured, or and it's though even those things alone alter the timeline. Do you know what I mean? If I'm trying to get that
Yeah.
across in the right way. So yeah, and I think when you think of it like that, you've then got to think, well, because none of us know how long we're here for. You can be psychic as you like, but none of us truly know. So the message there is because we don't know it, live your life.
Mm.
I will say live your best life. Do what you want to do what you need to do. As long as you're happy and content in life in some kind of way, that's the important part because we never know when we're going to go or who's going to go. Do you know what
No.
I mean?
But but what I see a lot in my readings is parents, mothers that come and they've lost their children. I only had one last week that her daughter passed quite young and she stopped living. She's just stopped living. She's just existing. And this is what happens is people give up on life.
Yeah.
And I can't even imagine the pain
No.
because I'd probably feel the same. I would
Oh,
probably feel
absolutely.
the
Yeah,
same.
yeah,
I
yeah,
it in to feel that heartache and to sit here with that lady last week and I cried because I could feel how her heart was so broken and the messages that her daughter was bringing through. And oh my God, I'm just saying thank you to Spirit for being able to do that day and to be so clear in everything that I came through. I just kept saying she's a great communicator, like it wasn't about me, it was about what
yeah,
I was getting for her and for her to hear those messages of what her daughter wanted. And I said to her, now I'm going to be very clear. Spirit doesn't tell you what to do. She can only ask you to keep living,
yeah,
to go and enjoy life. I said, there's a difference between Spirit coming through and saying, leave that man, he's no good for you, than to come through and say, Mum, I want you to keep living for me. I want you to be happy. I want you to go on that holiday. I want you and be specific. You know, I'm like going, the holiday, and can you understand that the van? Oh my goodness, you know, like being very specific about the details that only she knows, that her
Yeah.
daughter's bringing through. You know, this is the stuff that you go, if my daughter is seeing this, she must want me to do this. You know what I mean? These are the things that are meaningful, that come through, that, you know, Mum, I'm watching you do this. I'm seeing my sisters not do this. Or, you know, I don't want you to be living in your pajamas 24/7. I don't want that for you. And, you know, these specific things that come through that have so much meaning for that person to feel that, like she said, I felt like my daughter was here right now with everything that came through. That is why we have to keep living, because they
Yeah.
are watching. They're still here. They might have transitioned into a different form, but they are still here. And they want us to keep fighting. They want us to keep moving. They want us to keep living, because we're still here. This is our
Yeah.
journey now. This is our journey. We have to keep. And what she was kind of wanted to bring around was, by keeping me alive, I want you to live. You know, like in your heart, this would make me happy if you were doing this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I really feel that our loved ones want us to do. And it is the hardest thing when you are facing death, when you have just lost your person, and you know that first week, I think you almost are in a haze. It feels like the world freezes, or it's like it's existing, but you're not. Everything's
Yeah.
frozen.
Yeah.
So I think if we talk about the change of the perspective of it, we as mediums see the depth of it. And I think that's the difference. Before mediumship, we didn't really go into it. Oh,
No.
such and such has passed. Oh, I'm so sorry. And that was it. It
That
was
was
it.
it.
I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry. It's like, okay, oh wow, what do you say? Oh shit, they're in a better place. God, I fucking hate that. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they have no understanding of death. But when you are a medium and you are sitting with someone's raw emotions and you are bringing through their loved one, you are in the thick of it. You see death differently.
Yeah.
And what I have changed, if I can go into myself right now, is when I was younger, yeah, death scared me. I didn't want to talk about it. You know, I did see dead people, you know, walking around. I blocked all of that shit. I didn't want to know about it. I lost my friend very young. But then you go into this, I went into this evolving, oh my God, I've got children. I've had children now. There's this fear. If I was to go tomorrow, are they going to be okay? Will they be okay? Oh my gosh, this is just such a heavy burden for them to carry, not to have mum around. But now that's why I talk about it with the kids, so that if something was to happen, that they go, oh, mum's all right. Mum's with her mum. Mum's with, you know what I mean? Like, so they're not saying, oh, is mum okay? They're not running to mediums going, can you tell me if my mum's okay? Is she all right? Did she make it? I want them to know that I am okay and that I'm not scared of death. Am I scared of death now? No,
This could be a
I'm
question,
not.
actually. Are you scared of death?
I'm not. I'm not scared. If I had to go tomorrow, I feel like, well, that is my time. That's what I signed up for. Hopefully, without anyone's free will at play, that it's just organically happened the way it's supposed to. However, whether it's contracted, whether it's any of that, whatever we believe in our own hearts, I just feel that because I've had an NDE, because I've felt spirit, because I've done regressions, it's so beautiful and I'm not scared of it. I'm sad for my children. That's what it would be. I'd be sad for the people that I leave behind.
Yeah.
And I think that's where we connect to spirit. And sometimes you feel this pain of spirits kind of like, I don't know if they're sad, but they're feeling the anguish of their loved one here suffering. They don't want that for them because they're okay. So it's more about how will my children cope. That's what's different. That's what's changed and evolved. But to say, oh, something happened tomorrow, oh well, it happens, doesn't it? I won't be worrying about it. I'll be up there.
Yeah.
But it's for what everyone else is going through here. And that's where they're fine up there. We're not. We can't
Yeah.
cope.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't know how to handle it. They do. We don't.
Yeah.
That's the hard part. What about you, David? Are you scared to die?
No. I again, because I feel I know where I'm going, right? I'm not afraid of it. I think what, if anything, it's like you just said, I'm not afraid of death, but it's the thought of the process that's going to get me there. Do you know what I mean? So as long as I
Yeah.
pass peacefully, I don't mind. But I mean, I don't think, obviously, I don't sit there thinking about, oh, is someone gonna murder me? Nothing like that.
Mm-mm.
But as long as it's I always say, look, I'm gonna pass how I pass, right? And
Yeah.
that's kind of it. Nothing you can do about it. How you pass is gonna it's just how it's gonna be. So, but no, same for me. It's like I know. But when I go, I can leave all this shit behind. I think we deal with like you said there, as humans, we deal with so much nonsense and shit on this
Yeah.
planet that for some it might be a relief when we go. Now I'm going to say something. It's not controversial, but I know Higgs has spoken about this as well, and I must be very clear here when I say this,
Mm-hmm.
in case my mother listens to it. I don't know. I am not by any means suicidal, nothing like that, right? But would you agree, Glenda, that many media, I don't want to speak for everybody, but many mediums actually look forward to what we say going home?
Yeah.
And it's not because we're suicidal, but because
No.
as mediums, we know where we're going versus what we've got to deal
Yeah.
with on this planet. And so for
Yeah.
me, in my head, if I have a fleeting moment of what's going to happen when I die, it's it doesn't bother me that I am going to die because I know it, but I know that where I
Exactly.
go, all the physical stuff that we have to deal with here is gone. And even to the
Yeah.
point that, when I pass, do it like at my funeral, I don't really care because it's not going to affect me any longer, right?
Exactly.
But what is in my mind is, again, the people that we leave behind to make sure
Exactly.
they're okay. Do you know? Because I think
Yeah.
we all have people in our lives where we feel that, it sounds really morbid again, but it's not meant to be like this.
No.
But if I went before my other half, I know that he would have a lot more trouble coping with that than if it was the other way around.
Yeah.
That
And
makes
that's
sense what I'm trying to
true.
say.
That's true. And that's how I feel about like my papa and mum. I always said they wouldn't be far behind because it'd be a broken heart. Just don't want
Yeah,
to live anymore.
yeah,
And as grateful as they are to reach a really good age, they've lived their life. They've had their experience. They've had their memories. They've had amazing life together. It's just that when you're younger, you're in the prime of your life. That's what's sad. The other person being left
yeah,
behind.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
say to my husband, I say to him all the time, I go, I hope I die first so that I don't have to live with all this shit, like all the grief and all the finances and getting up every day. I don't want to face that. I hope I die first, but I always go, but I know that you will die first. And he's like, oh, that's nice. But, it's kind of, you make a joke of it. But in reality, I bet you everyone that's listening wishes that they die first before their partner. For sure. I don't want to be left behind.
yeah.
I
And
don't
the
want to
funny thing,
face that. Yeah. And I mean, this is an interesting subject, and this is going to get people thinking, because it's when we go, that's it. We're free. We're free. We're going
Well,
home.
yeah,
We're
yeah.
free. But
And
if
what's
you,
gone?
I was going to say, if death is a transition, what do you feel is something that we most misunderstand about it while we're still here?
Oh, if we're thinking about how we ask that question again. So it's just I'm trying
Okay.
to think at the same time as I'm listening. I'm trying to multitask.
Right. So death is a transition. Okay.
Right.
It's a transition.
Yeah.
What do you feel we most misunderstood about it while we are still here?
Um, what do we misunderstand? I'm trying to think of it from a more skeptic's point of view, I suppose, because I kind of understand. Don't know everything, understand everything, but
You
um,
know what I think?
go
I'll
on.
answer that one. I think that we misunderstand the pain, because right at the end, whether it's
Okay, yeah.
horrific, right? Whether it's horrific, and hey, we're just open here for talking about stuff. So whether it's like a murder, whether it's suffering, all of that sort of stuff, we and you see this with people that come, did they suffer? Oh my God, that was horrendous. Had they died? Did they suffer? That's the misunderstanding. I don't feel we suffer. I feel that we
No.
get to a point and we have no pain. We have no
Yeah.
pain, because I don't know how many times I have brought through someone that has had a tragic passing, and they've just said, I just woke up here. 1 minute I was there and the next minute
Mhm.
I was here.
Yeah.
They never felt the pain. And I mean, if you're into all the scientific stuff and the understanding the body and that, I think the body gets to a certain part and you don't feel pain anymore. You've got that much adrenaline, but towards the end, I really, there's a misunderstanding that we suffer, and I don't think we do.
I don't think we do either. I don't think we suffer either. And there's also a misconception that if you pass in a certain way, and
Mm.
it is more to do with religion and certain faiths and beliefs, that if you pass, I guess, by, let's say, by suicide, that you are held in some kind of um what's
Limbo.
the limbo, that kind of
Mm.
thing. Some kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Um I was just lost my brain. Not limbo, what's the other word for it? You held purgatory. That's it, that's the word I'm looking
Purgatory,
for.
yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Oh, God, I hate that one. I hate
I
that one.
don't you just, it's like, no, let me be very clear, people. If you are religious and you believe in a God, do you think that a great God, a God of love, would punish someone who couldn't bear the pain of being on this planet for a second longer?
Mm.
So do you think that when they take themselves over, that God's then going to say, well, you must be punished again for what you did? They've already punished themselves enough whilst they were here. That's why they took themselves over.
Exactly.
There is no purgatory, in my opinion. There is no bloody limbo. You know, no matter how we pass, whether you're a good person, evil person, whatever, we're all going to go to the same place, right?
Yeah.
So none of this purgatory and it's no, none of that. I think that's a
And
misconception that's what
you know
happened.
what?
No, it
What
doesn't.
else? You know what else I think is a misconception is people getting stuck in places, or haunted houses, or all that sort of stuff, or being stuck here because they need revenge on the person that killed them. No, they fucking don't.
No, I don't. Yeah.
Why can I connect with them in spirit then when they come for a reading?
Yeah. I
I
things like
that's
things like revenge. That's a
Yes,
human thing.
it is. That's what I
The
feel. It's
payback, the
human.
retaliation. It's human. It's not like I say with funerals as well, right? This is not to
Mm,
say people shouldn't have a funeral, but a funeral is really is not for the dead. It's for the living.
it
It's so the
is.
living can mourn and celebrate. Once we pass, we don't actually care. To be perfectly honest, I mean,
Yeah.
I've had spirit come through saying, "Yeah, thanks for the way I was laid to rest." They will give their gratitude, but
Yep.
actually, they've gone. They're all right. So if they, like for example, if they wanted to go, or they were in a place where they were in a little bit of pain or discomfort because of, I don't know, an illness, cancer, whatever it might be,
Yeah,
it's almost like a release for them because they're no longer restricted by their physical body. They've gone. So the rest of it is down to us down here. We're the ones that continue to grieve and mourn. We don't on the other side. When we get there, there's like, oh, thank God I'm out of that body because that body kept me in bed for weeks, or I couldn't move, or I couldn't be as active as I was before. And so, a lot of stuff that we deal with here is an us thing. It's a human thing.
yeah,
Spirit are okay. And as you said earlier on, spirit just want us to live. Do you know what I mean? And
exactly.
be happy on some kind of level.
They do. And so, my next question, I'm just going to throw this at you. Um, and it might be a bit controversial.
Oh,
And I think people um, will will have their own opinion, and that's okay. So we'll talk about this. But what do you think of the? I don't know what the rules are in the UK, but here in Australia, they've really in the last since my mum passed, because I would have loved to have something like this, but it wasn't around then. It's only come in probably in the last year or two, but when the assisted passing of someone. So here it's assisted dying, voluntary assisted dying. So here, if someone has a terminal illness, they can see a doctor a certain amount of times, whether that's like 3 times, and then through the legal channels and the framework, they can actually take themselves home. They have the medication, and they then transition to spirit. So again, it's assisted, it's a type of euthanasia, if we call it that. But so they're choosing, they have a choice. So we have a choice now here that, depending on the criteria, that we can tick the box and sign all the paperwork and say, okay, when I get to this stage, I want to go home. I don't want to go through the battle of cancer, or I don't want to go through the dementia. I don't know what it is. But what's your thoughts around that, David? That's
wow.
a hard one. That's a hard one to
Yeah,
think about.
it is. It's not for me. It's not a black and white answer. Many people out there, they'll be on either side of the fence, right? And
Yes, exactly.
In the UK, they tried to get through Parliament, but if I remember correctly, they didn't. It didn't get passed, or hasn't got passed yet. But there are celebrities in the UK which are trying to campaign for it as well because themselves are
Mm,
going through it.
mm.
How do I feel about it? Oh, it's not an easy one to answer, and the reason I say that is because I'm not either against it or for it, because I think if you unless you're in that situation, I think it's really hard to see the reality of it. So,
It
for
depends
example,
on two things. If you're the person going, having it done, or the
yeah,
person, the
it's,
bystander watching it.
that's it, and that's where I'm at with it because in my head, I'm like, but if I want to die, I'll die. Do you know what I mean? It sounds really
Yeah,
flippant. It sounds really flippant, but I'm like, no, this is. We talk about autonomy in other areas of life, right? And no, we'll talk about women's rights and things like that, and autonomy over their bodies. So if you're going to apply that, I know it's a little bit different. But if you're going to apply that to that, you've got to apply it to other things that, as humans, again, we have that free will, we have the right to choose, but I think, as you said, there should be certain criteria for it. So if you're just a suicidal person, I believe there's help for you. It's not just the
yeah.
answer, do you know what I mean? But if you are, I don't know, if you are really sick and
Like cancer is one
like
of the
cancer,
criterias. Yeah,
or you've got Alzheimer's, dementia, and whatever else, and then I think
yeah.
that's something definitely to be considered. Um, like I'm trying to, I don't know how to kind of. It's just one of those things. I don't because I don't know.
You're picking your timeline, because at
You
the end
are
of the
picking your
day,
timeline.
you are
Yeah.
dying. You are going to die and you are going to
Yeah.
suffer. That's the thing. We are
And
in
that's the
that fear
thing.
of suffering. Oh my God, I'm
Suffering.
going to suffer. I don't want to live on an IV of morphine.
Yeah.
And then my family sit around and watch me deteriorate. That's what you're going through. So you're actually pulling your timeline forward
Forward. Yeah.
by
Yeah.
who knows how long. So
Yeah.
I've had client do it, and I did a reading for her just before she did it, and it was just kind of like touched right at the end. It was just like, oh my gosh, she chose to have champagne bottles and things like that. It was just, she did it the way she wanted. She went out the way she
You
wanted
want
it.
it. Yeah.
She didn't want to suffer. And you know what? At the end of the day, I take my freaking hat off to her, because that's a big
Yeah.
call to do. That's a massive big call to do.
That's it. I don't know
But
if I'd be brave enough. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
do you want to? It's you don't know until you're in the moment suffering.
That's it. That's the thing, isn't it? It's alpha again. All these people out there with picket signs going, "It's the wrong thing to do." But I think, yes, but if
No,
you're in that situation, until you're in that
hey,
situation, you're not going to know. You can't make that decision. But I think a lot of the thought those people that come, I think they come more from a faith-minded reasoning or a
yeah, I
religious,
think so.
rather than just removing all that aside and just going, look, if that person's suffering, then and they want to go, then that's up to them. I mean, me and mum had the conversation before, and we both said, look, we don't ever want to become a if I become a
Oh yeah,
vegetable, right?
pull the plug. Pull the
Then
plug.
that's because I would never want to be a burden on anybody, and
No.
nor would my mum. And so, um, but again, I think, like we said a minute ago, it's looking at the other side of it. If it was a loved one of mine who wanted to do that, that'd be different because in one mindset you're going,
Mm,
well, I don't want her to suffer, but at the same time
mm-hmm.
you're going, yeah, but I don't want to lose her yet. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
you've got that, but so then ultimately it has to become the decision of the person that's going through it in the first place. And as humans, as compassionate humans, we've got to look at that and go, well,
Respect their wishes.
that's respect the wish. That's what they want to do because I would never want to see any of my loved ones in
Yeah.
pain or suffering. It'd be awful. And so,
And
you know,
that's it. I had that as my question to me when I was going to volunteer at the palliative care. So, how were you going to handle um, being a volunteer? You're standing beside someone in the bed that's just about to take their last drink or whatever else, and you've got the family arguing and fighting against this and saying you're doing the wrong thing. Where do you stand on that? How are you going to handle this situation? It's not my business at the end of the day, I said. It
mm,
is not my business. I don't get an opinion on this. And if you really think about it, are we respecting what that person wants?
yeah.
That it's what it comes down to. It's again, you're as if you're the family, you're putting your needs before someone that's suffering. So it's a hard one to think about, but I
No,
thought I'd throw that one.
that absolutely is. I say to people that when we pass, we go on our when we decide. It's like when if you've got a loved one in hospital, but you've been with all night, they've been fine. As soon as you leave the room to go and get a cup of tea or go to the loo, they pass.
Yeah,
And people feel guilty about that. But I say, no, your loved one
no,
passed when they wanted. They passed
absolutely.
on their terms, not on yours. Because our death is not about anybody else but us in that moment. We're going to go when
Yep.
we go. No, if my mum's of not being a medium or necessarily spiritual, we've always had conversations, especially when my uncle died when he was 36, my mum's brother. Although it was sad, my mum's thought process was, but that was just his time. There's nothing out. There's nothing anyone could have done. That was just, and that's how
Mm-hmm.
we look at death in my family. It was just their time to go. There's nothing. I couldn't do anything about it. My mum couldn't do anything about it. No one could do anything about it. It's just their body gave out for whatever reason. It's part of being human, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was just their experience of life. They've had that amount of time on this planet, and then they've had to go. There's nothing we can do about it. Ultimately, when my mum had cancer. couple of years ago. We didn't sit there dwelling on it or getting down about it. We laughed about it
Yeah.
because there's nothing in that moment we could have done. Mum was having the treatment she was having, but she can control it. I couldn't control it. My siblings couldn't control it. And so you have to kind of, I don't know, we just put some, I'm not saying that everyone has to do this, but we just put some humor in it. We kept the spirits lifted. We didn't get too down in the dumps about it. We just had to get on with it. And I think that by adding that humor in and keeping people lifted, I get, not that it adds to the healing, because touch wood is okay now for the moment. I think putting a bit more of a positive spin on some things. You obviously can't do it with everything, of course, but in my situation, just by putting a bit of humor on it, just joking about it and just keeping the spirits uplifted, that's kind of, I feel like what aided in the healing in that situation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's just different ways of dealing with things. We're all different, and there's no right or wrong way necessarily to deal with things like that.
No, no. So, David, what do you think maybe us living forget about those who have passed?
They still exist.
Mm.
We forget that they are. You can't kill their personality. And look, I know I've got
Mm.
people in my family who think when you die, right? And that's their
Mm.
thought
Yeah,
process.
that's
Now,
my dad.
I,
Yeah.
I don't, and I don't go, oh, well, let me try and convince you otherwise. I'm like, no,
No.
if that's your thought process, then you can have it, right? But I know what I believe. So I think we forget that, you know, their energy still exists. You can't kill it. You can't just, as Einstein says, law of physics, you can't kill energy, it simply transforms, right? I'm sure people have heard
No.
that time and time again, but it's true. It's we you can't ever connect that cord of love that you've got with your loved ones, right? Your parent is still your parent. Some
Mm-hmm.
people say my umbilical cord stretches that far. You can't. So whether I'm
Yeah.
down if it, or in spirit, you can't cut that because you're always tied to your family by that
Yeah.
energy, right? And I think people forget that, and that they can be around. They can show those little signs and symbols that that they're around. Um, if you're open to it. So again, we
Absolutely.
always say we're not here to convince people or convert people. If you think death ends at the physical death, then that's fine. If that's how you live your life, completely fine with you by me. But I don't think that way. So because obviously we know what goes on. Well, we think we know what goes on. I don't think
Yeah.
we have. I don't think we ever know really to the full extent what goes on. But you know what I mean. But that's what I think we forget, and we forget we can still have those conversations with them in our heads. We can still say good morning to that photo next to our bed or on the wall. No, we can still
Yeah.
call out to them. We can still, connect to them in our
Yeah.
own way. I think we forget that.
Yeah. Like people always go, oh, well, can you tell my mum that? You tell her.
Retailer,
You
yeah,
talk to her. She knows what's going on in your head. It's like telepathic. Your mum knows what you're thinking right now. Your mum knows how you're feeling. Your mum knows what you're doing. Talk to her. You
mm,
don't need a medium to talk to your loved ones. That's what people forget.
yeah,
We forget that we don't need to go to a medium to talk to our loved ones.
yeah,
I think that's one of the biggest things. And again, love just keeps transpiring. Love will always be there. The love is stronger than anything. So yeah, that's a big one. Um, there's probably a lot more, but I'm trying to think of other things that come to my mind. Um, remembering them, I think that's kind of important.
yeah.
Don't forget them.
Don't forget
Don't
them.
don't forget them
Yeah, speak about
because
them. If they call their
yeah,
name out, that's just keeping that link.
yeah, like when people say no, we don't talk about them. Why can't you talk
Why?
about them? Why? That's really sad that you don't
Mm,
want to talk about them, or it's the taboo, or it makes everyone sad, or no, it's making everyone sad that you don't talk about them.
yeah.
They want
Yeah.
you to talk about them. Keep their spirit alive, like acknowledge them.
Mm,
Light a candle, all of those sort of things. That's going to keep them keep them happy, keep them with us. You know what I mean? They're still living through us. So,
Yeah.
and the other thing, don't stop your life. Keep go on those holidays because they go with you. How often do we say, so you've just been on a holiday and such and such and such? How do you know that? Well, your loved ones just told me.
Mm.
Well, they've just been with you. They've sat in the car with you. You know, they've gone on the holiday with
Yeah.
you. They're with you. They're always with you. They're in your heart. So
Yeah. Absolutely.
that's very, very important. Let me see another one that I had written down. Okay. So, okay, if I don't know if this one was kind of very close to that, what do you think? I can't think that's pretty much the same for what the loved ones have passed would want us to know. If you could leave one message from all your work with spirit, what would that be, David?
Oh, if I could leave a message. What do you mean when I've gone? Is that what you mean?
Um, if you want to put it that way.
So what message would
So,
I
or
leave?
yeah, so if you, we always ask our guests, if
Yeah.
you, okay, we'll do it this way. If tomorrow was your last day, what would you like to leave behind, David? What message
What
out
message would I
of,
say?
yeah,
It might sound quite basic, but um, live your life, make the most of it, and pay no attention to the naysayers.
mm,
Just live your life. Don't you don't live your life for anyone else but yourself, because no one
mm,
else is live. You are living for you. No one else is living your life for you. So you got to live it. Make the most of what the time that you have here, because we never know how long we've got, and be happy. I think we spend a
mm-hmm,
lot of people on this planet, at the world we live in, spend so much time being miserable or
yeah,
arguing with people on social media, people that they've never even met before.
yeah,
In a comment section. Life is too
mm,
fucking short for that. Don't I always say, only place your energy where it's going to be reciprocate, where it's going to add some value. Only accept the energy that's going to add value to your life. Anything else you don't need.
yeah.
And I guess that's what I would say.
I
What
like
about you?
it. I think I would say, um, again, it comes down to happiness.
Yeah.
So everyone I see that comes to me for healings is unhappy. So my question and my thoughts would be to everyone listening right now, get to know yourself. Don't worry about anybody else.
Mm.
Who are you as a person? Learn to like yourself, learn to love yourself, learn to accept yourself, and do the things that make you happy. Find
Absolutely.
things that bring happiness to you that you like doing, and don't give a shit about anyone else. Because at the end of the day, you're here having an experience. You're here on your journey, not somebody else's. Stop people pleasing, create boundaries, and be kind. Kindness matters.
Mm.
Treat people the way you want to be treated at the end of the day. If you don't want to be treated like an arsehole, stop being an arsehole.
Yeah.
Don't sit in your own shit and be unhappy. Do something about it.
Yeah.
Asking for help is the hardest thing you'll ever do, but the most rewarding thing you'll ever do. And just go on adventures. Go on adventures, see different things.
Yeah.
I think,
Experience
I think,
life.
yeah,
Experience it.
I think so.
I agree.
I think that's what it's about.
Yeah. I
So
agree.
that that was a different type of session today.
Wasn't it just different type of
Yeah,
podcast? First, it's something we never talked about before. And it's a bit strange considering that's what we deal with on
I
a daily
know
basis.
because it's like you said, it can be a little bit taboo, but
Yeah.
people, but you know what? We could go out, we could sit at the pub and we could have a drink and talk about death and it would worry us. Whereas you go and sit with anyone else that isn't in this sort of business and they're like, you morbid piece of shit. Why are you
Yeah.
bringing that up? You've just brought the vibe right
Vibes
down.
down. Yeah.
I don't get vibed down by this. I think it's interesting. It gets us thinking about it. More people need to talk about it. Why should it bring the vibe down? It should get you interested.
Yeah. And
Or just,
ultimately, when someone passes, you know, you're celebrating their life.
that's right.
You know, when you talk about the things they did, talk about the jokes that the old dad jokes they used to say. No, talk about the love they gave, talk about the family holidays that you had, the memories that you made
Yeah,
together. You know, it's celebrating those
that's right.
in spirit as well, not being morbid about it.
Exactly. Well, that was lovely, David.
Yes, wasn't it?
It was. I'd just love to get some feedback on this, what other people's thoughts are on this. It'd be
Mm,
interesting. So
yeah,
send us some questions. Send us what your thoughts are. Give us something to talk about because it'd be very interesting. Maybe we might have to go and do another live again.
do
That's
another
always
live.
fun.
Yeah, do a live
Yeah.
Spirit Lounge episode again. I think
Yeah,
so.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Glenda, been a pleasure as
Always,
always.
always.
Always. I thank people for listening. We hope you enjoyed that. As much as it might be considered a morbid topic, I don't think it is. It's a realistic topic to talk about. So we hope you found it interesting, as I always say at the end of these episodes. But anyhow, look after yourselves, people, and we'll see you again in the Spirit Lounge sometime soon. Thank you for joining us in the Spirit Lounge for today's episode. We hope you enjoyed what you heard. And if you did, please like and share the podcast. And if you can, please leave us a comment or review, as it really helps us out.
And if you want to hear us talk about a particular topic or have a question you'd like our viewpoint on, then email them to us on either davidhmedium@outlook.com or glenda-marie1@hotmail.com. And we'll get to them as soon as possible.
Lastly, if you'd like to connect with us individually and book our services, you can check out our websites. Glenda's website is www.glendamariePsychicMedium.com.
And you can find David at www.davidhmedium.co.uk.
For now, it's bye from me.
And it's bye from me.
Join us again soon in the Spirit Lounge.